Anwar Khan, thank you so much for joining us today. Anwar is the president and co-founder of Islamic Relief USA and one of the true global leaders that I think of who has really made a global impact. And Anwar, we really appreciate you joining us. And I think it would be just absolutely wonderful for people that are going to see this video to hear a little bit about your story and some key moments in your life. Kind of what drove you to think about the work you do today? Would you be willing to share a little bit about your story?
Thank you so much, Scott. And really, it is an honor for me to be here with you. I love the work that you do, and I love the work that Global Impact does. I would see you at different conferences again and again, and would promise each other that we'd meet each other. Even though we're both based in Alexandria. And when we finally did try to meet with each other, COVID came in. And I was like, no, it's taking too long. So we've been meeting each other on Zoom, even though we work in the same city. So again, thank you for the wonderful work that you and your team do. And in the last year, we've been talking a lot about DEI, diversity, equity, and so on, and inclusiveness. But you tried to reach out to us years ago when it wasn't fashionable. So I remember that. This is not just something that's happened in the last year because it looks cool or it's on social media. It's something that you're interested in and Global Impact is interested in. That's why they want to work with Islamic Relief. Now, my story, I ask people, how far back do you want to go? Because I can take you back 300 years, but I don't think we have enough time. I can name all of my ancestors back, but to summarize things, I was born in Pakistan. My father was working in Saudi as a doctor at the time. And I spent the first year in Saudi, very little time in Pakistan. Then I moved to England and I left England at the age of 22. You can probably tell by the accent, I spent quite a bit of time there. My childhood home is Birmingham, England. So I regard England as my childhood home. I'm very proud to be British. I was born in Pakistan, I never lived there, but my parents lived there for some time, but they were born in India. So I'm, again, proud of their heritage, and they were from Afghanistan hundreds of years ago. And then from Britain, when I was 22, I chose to come to America. So the first nationality I actually chose, and the only one, is American. So I was born in Pakistan, grew up in England, became British, then became American over here. Now, what really affected me was my mother's stories and my father's example. Now, those of you who go to synagogues, who go to churches, you know about on a Sunday school or the equivalent, you hear all these stories about Jesus or Moses and about the great spiritual leaders of how they were generous, they helped the poor, they helped the needy, and they had fish distributed, bread, and all of this kind of stuff. So my mother was very upset with me when I joined Islamic Relief, because this is not what respectable South Asian kids whose dads are doctors did in the 90s in England. I was meant to be a doctor, engineer, or accountant. Now it's doctor, engineer, or lawyer. I think accountancy kind of dropped in favor in the South Asian community, but this is what good kids were meant to go into. And non-profit work? My mother said, who brainwashed you? I said, Mom, when I was told stories about the companions of the Prophet Muhammad and how one gave half of everything for the needy and the other gave everything. She said, who brainwashed you? I said, Mom, it was you when I was 8 years old. The stories you told me about generosity of the Prophet Muhammad and about helping the words of the Quran, I'm living that example. Now, my Jewish and my Christian friends, Hindu, Sikh friends, but it's in our book too. Yes, I know. But this is my story. You tell your story. So I believe that there's this universality in faith. And I saw Islamic Relief as a vehicle to put my faith in action and to come closer to God by helping others. Other people went to become imams. Other people studied Islamic theology. I practice helping the needy, helping others. I practice my faith. Now, some will say, Anwar, we practice the faith. So we practice helping the needy and we don't believe in any faith. I said, brother, sister, you do what works for you. I'm just telling you what affects me. This is the thing that helps me to come closer to God by helping his creation. The word in Islam, khilafah, can be translated as Islamic State, but the actual translation of khilafah is representative of God, custodian. So our job is to be the custodian of the environment. That's why we're against climate change. It's to be the custodian of the widow, of the needy. That's the honorable thing to do. The honorable thing to do is when people are in need, is to help them. So people have used the word honor and used the word khilafah in ways that I believe go against the Islamic teachings. So back to my story. So my mother's been telling me all these wonderful stories that I actually believed, okay? That we could make, that one person can change the whole world. I believed her. And then at the age of 13, I had a momentous moment in my life when my father died of a heart attack in my arms. I didn't know how to do CPR, but I tried. In Islam, we believe when your time has come, your time has come. He was 52, he was a medical doctor, and he died of his second heart attack. So for me, I didn't assume that I will get old because my father was young when his father died. His father, I was born in the 70s, my grandfather died in the 40s. So my father didn't even reach, wasn't an adult when his father died. And this was unfortunately a family tradition apparently that was now playing there. So I realized that I might not get to 52. So I decided that do not assume one will get old. Make every day count. Whatever you want to do, don't assume you'll become old and you can do it. Do it now. So I was miserable for some time, as you could imagine. I didn't want to put any grief on my mother. She's a widow and she's in her late 30s. She never got married again. She spent her whole time taking care of my three sisters and me. I remember someone telling me in Islamic Relief, and he gave misinformation to a woman. He said, don't worry about Anwar. Anwar just has a problem with strong women. I said, are you kidding me? My mother has a master's and was the only woman in her course in Pakistan in the university in the early 60s. One sister's a dentist, one sister's a doctor, another one has a BA. All of my sisters have very strong opinions, trust me, okay? I'm surrounded by strong women. It's not me that has a problem, you're projecting, okay? So, and I'm married, there's my wife, I have 2 daughters and a son. I'm always surrounded by strong women. I don't get intimidated by that, okay? So what I learned from my father was to be strong. What I learned from my mother was the wisdom of getting people. So my father was about force. He was a force of nature. He'd come in the room, people would listen to him. My mother had a way of winning hearts. So there was the vinegar and there was the honey. And I learned from both of them. My father for the first 13 years and my mother to this day. She's still alive and she's praying. Every single day, she's praying. So I feel like I have a force field protecting me from my mother's faith and the actions of my mother. So then I graduate from university and I'm miserable because I don't know what to do in my life. I don't know what I want to do. I know what I don't want to do. I don't want to work for the man.
Yeah.
49-year-old Anwar would go back and tell 21, 22-year-old Anwar, you're going to be the man one day, okay? Who is the man? So if you don't want to work for the man, you will become a revolutionary. And then when you're in your 40s, you become president, CEO, and people will say you're the man. So don't worry about the man. Are you doing the right thing? And when I came to America, I came without a clue. I came with good intention. Like many 22-year-olds, I was arrogant, Scott. When I came to America, I thought I can change the world. I can come and I can change the Muslim community in America. You know how long I gave myself? 3 months. After 3 months, I realized I'm going to need 3 years. After 3 years, I realized it's going to take a little bit longer. It is now, I'm in my 28th year, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think it's going to take several generations, several centuries. What I'm doing in Islamic Relief, with the help of Global Impact, is putting the seeds down to make an even better America than it is now. E pluribus unum, out of many one. So I have seen Islam in America change. I have seen America change. Something I found was that the Muslims in California were quite liberal. The Muslims in the Midwest were quite friendly and a bit more conservative. The Muslims in New York were a little bit rude. And the Muslims in the South were very friendly with the hospitality. But you may say, Anwar, you just described every geographical region in America, and Muslims aren't different from any other American. Yeah, I know. So what we do in Islamic Relief is we are like Islam. We take the form of the local culture. So I want Islamic Relief USA not to be like Islamic Relief in the UK or in Pakistan or in Sudan. I want us to have that inherent American innovation, fearlessness, pioneering attitude, the best things in American society, and with the timeless Islamic values. And we're going to come with something different. I was just speaking to a politician today, okay? It's been 20 odd years we've been trying to talk to this politician. So you may say, Anwar, how long will it take? It may take 20 odd years. So we came with an idea that we were going to change the world. And I remember going to a mosque in 1994 and someone coming up to me. And again, you can call me crazy, but the person just reminded me of a narration of the Prophet Muhammad and an angel coming and talking to him. I'm not saying it was, I'm just saying it reminded me. And he said, and he wanted some help, so we gave him some charity. He looked like he was in need, so we gave him some need. But there was something in his face, in his eyes, that just reminded me of these childhood stories about angels. He said, I'm going to give you this, but tell me how I can pray for you. What is the one thing you want? So I'm standing there, it's 1994. We hardly have any money and no clue when we're starting Islamic Relief USA. And I said to him, I want you to pray that we're going to raise $80 million. My friends are looking at me. And after the guy left, are you mad? That year, we barely raised $150,000. And here I am dreaming of 80 million. Because I thought we could have a global impact with that money.
Yeah.
No money, no mission. No mission, no witness.
Yeah.
More money, more mission. More mission, more witness. So when we started Islamic Relief, we worked on the first two in America. Get the money to pay for the mission. And the focus was on helping people in Bosnia who were dying on TV in the marketplace. You remember, Scott. Yeah. You're not that much different in age from me. So you and me both remember when those people were screaming to the death, and we saw it and we felt really that we couldn't help.
Yeah.
And we wanted to help. So that inspired me to come to America. So I'm over here. My mother wants me to come back home, but I'm telling her we got to change the world. So I did what I could to make my mother happy by doing the degree, but it didn't make me happy. So I love my mom, but I came to America because I thought this was the land of opportunity. That when I was in England, in an industrial town called Birmingham, which I love, I was always told in British society what I couldn't do. We didn't know what DEI was, but I was from the South. I was meant to be at the bottom of the academic ladder. I was from the inner city area. So I checked all the boxes of someone that should have failed. But I tricked them because my dad was a doctor, my mother was educated, they were married. And you know that if your parents go to university, if they're married, you're more likely to go to university, have more money. And I tricked them with my complexion. Okay, so I wasn't what the bigoted view were. So I was passed for white, even though I'm from Pakistani origin. Then I came over here and I was traveling around Arkansas, and I remember passing the international headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan. At that point, I thought, Scott, maybe I need to go back to the UK. And I'm driving around. Another time, I'm driving in Arizona. I put my brakes on the car, reversed and came and had a look. And there was the Dome of the Rock. You know the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem?
Yes.
That beautiful building with the gold dome?
Of
They have
course.
a miniature version of it in Phoenix, Arizona. The only thing Arizona, and by the way, Jerusalem's not a desert, Arizona is. So I was like, what? So they made a miniature version of that. And by the way, there's a few of the miniature versions of that in America. We have the freedom in America to build mosques. We have the freedom to build them any way we like. Well, it depends. In some areas we don't, but in other areas we do. So when other people said what we couldn't do, I saw America as a place what we could do.
Yes.
So we then spent the 90s working our way. The men wouldn't talk to us because they said they were part of our all boys network and we were too young. We were in our early 20s. And so we worked with women and we worked with the youth. I feel in the Muslim community, we didn't understand that the most important capacity, as you know, is human capacity. The most important resource is human resource. So those women and those kids, people would laugh at us, oh, you're working with the women and the kids. They don't laugh anymore when we raised $110 million last year. They haven't been laughing for a few years now. Why did we, after 9/11, become bigger than the other Muslim organizations? Some of them were shut down. Some of them, people were scared to give money. But because we had a strong network with the women and the kids, and we never got too much money from one person, we got a lot of money from a lot of people.
Yes.
Widows giving us money, kids giving us money, and there's a blessing. I use the Arabic word barakah, blessing, barakah, to the money that we had. So we grew and grew and grew. So we went from zero in 1993 up to about $6 million in 2001. And then when that happened, we got 40 death threats on 9/11. I'm crying watching the images like everybody. And my fellow American brothers and sisters who were dying horrific deaths in those towers. It hurt me. And then I realized that people wanted to hurt me. So I go to the office, 40 death threats. People wanted our blood. We decided to give it to them. How? Through the American Red Cross in South Central Los Angeles. No, I didn't know what intersectionality was. I still don't know what people mean it today, but the way I see intersectionality is when we connect with each other. So you've got South Central LA, which is an impoverished area. You've got a Muslim-free clinic, which is mostly helping 97% people who aren't Muslim, who are mostly African-American and Latino. And I'm showing up there and there's hardly any Muslims at the beginning of the blood drive. And the blood was to raise blood because the nation's blood supply went low because so much was needed in New York and DC. So we wanted to put the stuff back, the blood back into the American Red Cross. So we ran a full-page advertisement in the Los Angeles Times to encourage the people to come and to give their blood. The media came, and I remember an Hispanic guy came to me. And I said, why are you here, sir? He said, because you came and helped us in South Central when no one else did. So you were there for us, we're here for you.
It's powerful.
And an African-American guy said the same thing. And I was just, oh my God, I'm in tears. So,
you know, Anwar, when I hear your story, it's very, very interesting that you had this amazing influence from your mom and dad, their faith, their history in Pakistan, India, England. They really paved the way for you, not only being a global citizen, but really living your faith. And the fact that you took on that faith, and as you say, the practicality of the faith, that you lived your faith, you didn't just believe it, but you lived it. It became this example. And I am absolutely so appreciative of what that brought that story brought to the rest of the world? Because here you are in the United States, especially now in this moment of time in which leaders who are willing to look at interfaith issues, willing to meet people wherever they are, and willing to work together is so important. Do you feel like you're just beginning? It feels like this is the moment in time in which we really need leaders like yourself.
I really do, Scott. I really do. I feel something amazing. I was listening to a song by a Muslim cowboy artist. You cannot make this stuff up. In Texas, there's a Muslim who loves Western songs, cowboy songs. And he said, I'm like incense. The more you burn me, the better my fragrance. So I feel that, when you want to get really high quality steel, you need to have a high flame.
Yes. And
you can melt it. I think I spent 28 years here in America having different experience. So for my Black brothers and sisters, they have a different experience. For my sisters, they have a different experience. Scott, I don't know what experience you had. All of us have our own experience. So I don't want to assume that any one person has privilege, But we all are blessed in one way. We all have challenges in another. But my challenges after 9/11, I was told, look, either you convert, you run or you hide, or you stand up. So I decided to stand up. And we were very busy doing the work, no matter how many times people threatened to kill us, no matter how many times people tried to harm us. There are so many more Americans who love us than those who hate us. And I got to meet them. And I remember even people, one thing I love doing is getting people who hate us into people who love us.
Yes.
Isn't this what Jesus did? Isn't this in the Torah? Isn't this in every holy book, not just the Abrahamic faith? I've seen it. I believe it. Now, in the last few years, I'm now getting older, okay? So, when you get to your 40s, they say that your mind closes. I think I'm a little bit strange. I'm evolving. But on some things, I'm not evolving. So on others, I am.
Yes.
So it's not okay for me in the last 5 years to say racist stuff around me. It's not okay to say anti-Semitic stuff. It's not okay to go against a group. I will call you out. If I'm at a dinner in a fancy hotel in Washington, D.C. with journalists, I did it. When I go to family gatherings, when I'm because we were taught that you have to listen to the elders, even if they said bigoted comments. How many of you have been to Thanksgiving dinner and heard from that crazy uncle or that crazy grandfather, And we all have to go, no, I'm too old to be going along with this stuff. And the politics changed in this country a few years ago. So what I decided is, I'm going to call it out. It is even more important, Scott, for us to stand up now.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about standing up for my religion. I'm not talking about standing up for my ethnicity no. I have to speak up for everyone. So I have to be as worried, Scott, about you as I am about myself. That's what I mean by standing up. Because when I protect myself and my group, that's self-serving. When I protect others, then that's real protection. So now is the time. So at this time now, I sensed it 5-6 years ago. And some Muslims were saying things are getting difficult for us. And I picked it up when in Louisiana, a sheriff in one of the parishes kicked us out from helping in Louisiana we did the crime of trying to help poor people, who happen to be predominantly white, by the way, with cash cards, coordinated by the American Red Cross. Now, the American Red Cross had no time for this. And they called the guy up, and he had to, in the end, admit, he said, I can't guarantee their safety. You know who it went safe from? Him. So finally, they weren't happy, and they said, if you're not going to help these guys, we're not working in your parish. Then there was another problem over there. We went back to another parish and we had no problem. When we were in Southern Illinois, so this is not just a Southern problem, Southern Illinois, the local mayor was under pressure from some people to not allow Islamic Relief to do the crime of giving out tens of thousands of dollars in cash cards to people that the American Red Cross had identified. And the American Red Cross told them, if you're not working with us, we don't have time for this. If you're not working with them, then we're not working with you. So he worked with us. Now, the head of our emergency team was a Seventh-day Adventist, African-American, Seventh-day Adventist. He's a Christian. I'm calming my Christian colleague down because he said, Anwar, this guy, when we went there, he thanked everybody, but he didn't thank Islamic Relief. And we gave more aid than everybody else. I said, Derek, God will thank us. So I'm calming my Christian friend, who's very calm, by the way. He was incensed. And I was like, no, we're not going to play these guys' games. Our job was to come, to deliver the aid, and we got it out there. Sometimes people would come up to us and say, old ladies, you know, when you start a story with an old lady in the South, so she's in Oklahoma, an old white lady comes up to us and she says, I'm not going to believe what they say anymore about you people. You know, that's not going to be a good end of the conversation, but it was. She said, everything I heard about you guys was on Fox News. It was on cable. I'm not going to believe that anymore. Please, can you take up I just realized, can you take up the Fox News from the video? Just say cable news, yeah? Is that okay? So I'll say that again. The old white lady said, I'm not going to believe anymore what they say on cable news about you all. You came to help us when no one else did. So we are winning one heart at a time. And at the same time, in the last few years, I got to meet Global Impact, and you're helping us to amplify our voice to others. It is a voice of love. It is a voice of building bridges. Now, some people want to build walls around their hearts. Others want to build bridges. I'm a bridge builder. You're a bridge builder, Scott. There's more bridge builders than there are wall builders, okay, in our hearts. So we expected life to get very difficult in the last few years. So I gave you examples of Louisiana and of Southern Illinois. So it wasn't just the South thing, it was a North thing. By the way, most of the emergency work we do is in the South. Yeah. Sometimes we get hard response, but sometimes we get very nice response. So I don't want to say that there's racism in the South, there's racism all across the country. And some of the people who we've really made a difference with are in the South. But we noticed this. Then we noticed other things were getting more difficult. Okay. So we were working from an assumption that our office may be shut down and we might have to work from home. So this we did. And then COVID happened. So we were ready before you all because we had a security plan in place for the wrong reason. We were worried that we would be the victims of bigotry and we wouldn't be able to work in our physical office. So you're going to love this, Scott. We did everything on the cloud before 2013. We issued laptops to everyone. We issued iPads. We had everybody working and nobody was allowed to keep their file on their computer desktop. Everybody had to have it on the cloud. And our donor records were kept in a safe place because we were worried that the building might be firebombed.
Yes.
So I'm laughing with you now, but it wasn't funny at the time.
No.
Due to people's hatred and Islamophobia, we were really ready for COVID, which sounds crazy. So when we decided on Friday, we ain't coming to the office on Monday, no glitch. No glitch. Everybody was working from home. And you may say, well, Anwar, productivity would have gone down. It went up 35% in terms of income last year.
Fantastic.
Productivity went up in terms of amount of programs. And we look forward to this opportunity with Global Impact because I've given you briefly some of the highlights of the last 28 years. I'm not looking at the next 28. I'm looking at the next 400.
Yes.
So again, I saw that 80 million, which by the way, we did here, as you know, 2 years ago. As soon as we got to 80 million, I was like, let's go to 100 million. My colleagues that you know, Scott, as soon as we got to 100 million, they were giving themselves high fives. Do you know what I was doing?
Keep going.
I was like, 250. When are we going to get to 250?
Yes.
They're like, what? No, I predicted the 100 million, this months before the rest of them. So it was very anticlimactic to me. Okay. I'm going for the 250. And they were like, yeah, whatever. So
Anwar,
far,
one of the reasons why I followed you is that I so admire the fact that you embraced America in spite of our prejudice, in spite of our limitations, and you made us better, and you helped to transform so many lives and help so many people in need here in this country as well as around the world. Can you tell us, what advice do you have for the next generation that they might live their faith the way you have?
First of all, I disagree. I didn't change anything. I just showed you guys how amazing you all are. It's naturally in us. We all have a special code, Scott. Especially, I want to talk to the young people now. All of you, when you were made by God, came with a special code. I don't care what religion, what color, what background you're from. Find that code. Be amazing. Be amazing. I don't want you to be mediocre. I want you to be amazing. Find something that you like doing. I told to my kids, make sure it's permissible in our faith, but I don't care what you do as long as it's legal, and get it done. Be amazing. I have a 20-year-old son, a 19-year-old daughter, and a 17-year-old daughter. And I tell them, I'm not telling you what to be. I'm just telling you I want you to be amazing at it. This is a country where you can do anything, okay? And when you get that privilege, pass it on to someone else. What I love, Scott, about yourself and your organization is that you know that there's some people that may not want to talk to us, but they may talk to you. I remember in Baton Rouge after Katrina in 2005, I sent the best people I could from Islamic Relief who happened to be African American. They went to talk to somebody from a certain organization, from a particular faith, I don't want to say, and they refused to talk to them because we thought it's because he was Muslim, not because he was black. So then we tricked them. We sent my white Palestinian friend with blonde hair. So he's a huge guy, 6'3", used to be a linebacker in college football in upstate New York. Gotcha. Very charming guy with a baritone voice. The ladies loved him, and he got us the pass. Okay. So we weren't going to make an issue about that racism. Our focus was eyes on the prize. In answer to your question, don't get distracted with people. They want to cause problems for you, and you forget what your purpose was. What's your purpose? What's your objective? Yes, we're against all of this hatred, but sometimes they're going to make you go off on a tangent and you're going to forget why you came there. We didn't come there for civil rights. We came there for human rights. Drinking clean water, having food was a basic human right. If we had to deal in a polite way, and my African-American colleague, by the way, he understood this. We all understood what the means were, that this was the ends, that we had to help the people. And then later on, by the way, we'll find a way to come in to deal with that racism and to deal with that other stuff. But that shouldn't take away from the purpose that we had to do. Then later on, we found that some of the people in that area who were living in the Bayou, white Americans who didn't have much money, they were fighting with their neighbors. And I found out why. They said because their neighbor was hating on Muslims. And this guy had an Islamic Relief flag on his truck pickup. And his friend said, take it off. He said, no, but these guys came and helped us when nobody else did. They didn't ask me to put it on my pickup. I wanted to put it up. So the people who you may look at and think are against you, they may not be the ones that are being bigoted. It might be our own bigotry. So look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. And I hear a lot of stuff about people being woke, and I don't like using the word woke. I don't like using the word resistance. Okay? Do the right thing. Golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated. to everyone, no matter what color, no matter what background, no matter whatever they're from, treat them like you would like to be treated. So I would say, do the impossible. This is the country that sent someone to the moon. Don't tell me we can't get rid of world hunger if we can go to the moon. Please.
Absolutely.
This is the country that came up with so many miracles, with a scientist that helped to improve the grain so less people would starve in the world. That's a miracle. Okay? The way that we move water around the place and all, there's so many miracles we can do in America. Let us show what the real America is like. I don't want to talk about the bad stuff in American history, but I do want to study it. How do we make this a better America?
Anwar Khan, finding hope, be amazing, do the right thing, and America, find your place to make a global impact. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Scott, for you, for Cassie, for your whole team. I think we're going to do amazing work together.
We feel honored to be a small part of your work.
Whatever we're doing, I think you understand what I'm saying, Scott. This is just the beginning. I want to be very clear.
You have to keep working.
For you and for us, God willing, may God bless you. May God bless all of your team. There are, one of the reasons I live here and I chose to live here, Scott, is because there's more people in this country of love and care than there are on the other side. My wife was spat on because she wears a headscarf after 9/11. A guy came up to us, big guy, with shorts on and a baseball cap, a bit of a beard. He comes up to us like this. And my wife was a little bit anxious because she'd just been spat on before. And so he just came and said, I just wanted to apologize. If anybody was rude to you because you wear a headscarf. Sometimes in this country, we're a little bit crazy, but generally we're good people. And my wife looked at, I know. So I want to say to all of you guys, we know what happened with Mr. Floyd in the last year. The odd thing wasn't what happened, it was there was a camera and we all got to see it. We know that there's a lot of different movements going on, but to be honest, there have always been more allies for justice in this country. And I want the beauty of this country to go in the whole world. So when they think of American values, they think of global impact. They think of the amazing work that your supporters, your volunteers, your staff do.
Well, Islamic Relief and Anwar, you personally are setting such an amazing example for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.